Hello everyone, so the patch notes for October 12 are out, and there's actually quite a few interesting changes in this one. Sunshower Heathcliff is getting a bit of a buff, as well as Dieci Rodion getting a little bit of a nerf, and they're going to give us 300 lunacy in exchange for that. So, first off, we're getting the banner of Heathcliff, I'll talk about him in a bit, and also Otis and Yisang will be moved to the dispenser, so if you did not do the daily login and get them in time, well, you at least have a chance to get them from the dispensary before the end of the season, and remember to go and get it at the end of the season. Otherwise, you will not be able to get them in Ishmael season, which is the next season. Banner stuff, I don't really care. And then some VFX improvements, blah blah blah. Yeah, okay. So besides all of this stuff here, which I don't really care about, this is the one that I actually care about the most, is that Ego Sunshower Heathcliff, which is the ID. I know it's a bit weird to see the Ego here, but this is Sunshower ID Heathcliff. Protection will now trigger before you take the first hit, which is extremely significant because that means that he actually functions like how he actually should have functioned this whole time. He should have already have the protection due to the amount of sinking on him before he starts taking damage. So this actually only worked when he started getting hit once. So he would take one full hit of damage, and then after that, the rest will be protected, which was really annoying. So this is actually a really big change. Really, really nice. So now the passive applies the protection before it takes the first hit. Very, very good. Makes him more consistent, makes him tankier. Bug fixes here is that they fix an issue where the activation condition of the skill 2 Puddle Storm wasn't calculated properly. So what this means, right? After the combat phase began, Heathcliff's SP healed beyond -15 or -25 due to SP healing triggers such as winning a clash. So his skill 2 effects would stop applying in the middle of combat, meaning, right, that if you were at the -15 or -25 threshold, you would get the damage buff. Whatever the buff was for Puddle Storm. I think it's a coin power buff or something. When you gain SP because of winning the clash that you use skill 2 to clash with, you actually disable the buff. So now what they did is that they make it so that it will be when you attack. So even after you win the clash, you still get that bonus. Yep. So it is actually really, really good. These two changes here make it so that he's tankier, and makes it so that his Puddle Storm actually does good damage even if you do winning the clash. His skill 2 will still apply, will still get the buff because when you attacked, you already were at the SP threshold required. So this is really, really good for Heathcliff. I'm glad that he's getting this big change because actually the Ego goes pretty well with him, actually. Yeah. So next one is the rough one. Dieci Rodion is getting a bit of a nerf. It's supposed to max out at 3 instead of maxing out at 5. So currently it was maxing out at 5, now they're nerfing it so that it will max out at 3. So apparently this, yeah, it will make her super busted basically, because 5 is just what, 50% extra blunt damage. Is insane for a tanky brawler character like her, a berserker character like her, you know. So they're going to dial it down a bit, and they're going to give us the 300 lunacy in exchange for this, which kind of sucks. So yeah, honestly, if you want to go and push your railway, I recommend trying it now, because with this, right, you can actually do a shit ton of damage with Rodion. So if you wanted to try and push, you should definitely slap in Rodion on your team and then go for blunt damage build and try to buff her types as much as possible. I believe Rodion is Gloom, Sloth, and something else. I can't remember the last element. So you just take those elements and build your team around those elements, and you should be able to get a crap ton of damage anyway, because she is a stupid strong character right now. Alright, and besides that, they made it so that it's no longer hit, become on hit. This is, yep, I expected that. Fix a typo on Rodion's Uptie skill 3. Discard W skills of the lowest rank in all. It becomes discard 2 now. So discard 2 of the lowest ranks in all makes it a lot more in line with Yisang's one, because Yisang's one is also, I believe, discard the lowest of all of his skill slots. So this means that you discard mainly your rank 1s, and then after that your rank 2s, and if you somehow have 2 rank 3s in one of the slots, then yeah, you can discard those anyway. Yep. So yeah, this is to just bring her in line, I guess. It's just to make it consistent. That's fine. And then everything else here just becomes on hit, on hit, on hit. Yeah, on hit, on hit. Alright, so besides that, nothing much else honestly is significant here. All of this stuff here I just scanned through, and honestly, nothing was very, very game-changing. There are some issues here, so they do want to make it so that targeting conditions when more than a single target fits the conditions a bit more consistent. So they want to make it so that it is going to be your order. So if you choose like maybe Ninclef first or and Otis second, for example, then if you have something that targets two allies, it will target Ninclef first and then it will target Otis second. It will just follow your order, which is quite interesting. They want to put more control in our hands. That's the logic here. So I'm really not sure what this is trying to really buff, because I haven't really seen like which units actually matter about the order. But for now, this is an interesting change, and I need to go and look around and see like which units are actually going to get affected by this one. But this is something that is going to come later. It's not now, so I'm going to put that on the back burner. Yep, so you're getting 300 lunacy for the patch and also 300 lunacy because of Dieci Rodion. She is going to get nerfed from 5 blunt damage to 3 blunt damage, and this is the main one. It's pretty significant. You lose 20% damage. So if you want to try and push your Refraction Railway now, make sure to do it now before the patch hits. Alright, so for the last one, let's talk about Heathcliff. So this Heathcliff, even though I don't know the cost of casting this Ego yet, I really think that this is probably meant for Sunshower Heathcliff. And the reason being, right, is because of this SP balancing act here. So before you attack, as long as you're at X SP, you gain attack weight. And same for here. And if it follows Lantern's method, right, Lantern is 3 plus 2. So it should be 3 AoE by default at uptime 4, and then you plus 2 attack weight. So you become a 5 AoE blunt move. So that brings it in line with something like a Fluid Sac Faust in terms of number of targets hit, and it also heals X SP for 4 other allies with the least SP. Do not know what this X number is, but this is actually really strong. Really strong. SP healing is very good. Fluid Sac heals 25, which is basically almost its entire cost, which is why it is a very strong ego. It means you can cast Fluid Sac like crazy. Sunyata having some sort of SP heal here, if it's a significant number, maybe let's say 15, or maybe even 10. I'm still okay with 10 because it's 4 other allies, so that's like 40 SP still. So it's still pretty damn good. Besides that, I'm more looking at the X plus SP thing here, because this thing is actually really good. Because if you're Heathcliff, right, you're running the positive version. So if you're running maybe like Rabbit or something, you can actually just use this, because you will be able to get the attack weight, and you can do some 5 AoE shenanigans here. And you also get a very nice debuff, and you also heal up other people's SP. So in case, I don't know, you fight the Fox, for example, in Railway, or you fight enemies that apply sinking in Refraction Railway or Mirror Dungeon, then you could just use this to restore your SP and prepare for later, or maybe you ego spammed a lot, you can also use this to replenish your SP. Yep. So honestly, looking very good. And then the other one here is very interesting, because I was thinking of Sunshower when I look at this. At X minus SP, you gain attack weight, and you can ignore the target randomly, whatever. It affects defense level down to 1 other ally, whatever. Gain X defense level up next turn, gain X damage up. I remember that Sunshower Heathcliff is a bit of a selfish bruiser. He wants to become low SP. And he also wants to get hit a lot. And he actually prefers it if he has a bunch of actions so that he can get to that level. So giving himself X defense level up to mitigate the damage is nice, and then gain damage up next turn. I've never actually seen damage up. Like, this is actually just damage up. There's no like blunt damage up or slash damage up. It's just damage up. So this is just pure increase in damage no matter what you look at it. So this looks really good actually. And then besides that, Tails hit, you heal X SP on yourself. So I don't know, maybe you can reset yourself back to 0 with this ego use, or maybe you will just clear your corrosion and then you go back to like 10 SP or something like that. And then on tail hit, you also inflict fragility. So Sunyata Otis was used, the corroded version, to apply the fragility, and this one might also be used if you want to apply fragility as well. Yep. And then besides that, Diana, the passive here, I don't know how to pronounce this, raise max HP by X% of unit's base max HP when recovering from the staggered state. This is very interesting because it's scaling off of the HP, and I believe Sunshower Heathcliff is quite tanky. Let me try to find him. Let's see, Limbus company. Let's go to Sunshower and just take a look at him, alright? Might be easier if I just showcase him. Let's see, Sunshower. Okay, Sunshower has 190 HP. So he has a lot of HP. 190 is already like tank's level of HP. So having this scale off of your base max HP is very, very good. And if you're running him solo, you will probably be getting staggered a lot, or I'm not sure, because this character is really a guarding character, right? So you could be taking a lot of those hits, and either way, when you go into the staggered form, you just raise max HP, which means that you don't really die, because then you heal by X% of your current max HP, and if you're at less than a certain amount, you heal even more HP. You can treat this like ADD, basically. This is like ADD. And then at combat end, you revert back to the max HP, and current HP value will be adjusted to reflect HP percentage. Which means that if you gain a certain amount of HP from the gain here, and then you healed up, you get a proportional amount back and you revert back to normal. So this is quite interesting for the bruiser like Sunshower Heathcliff. I imagine, right, the colors of this ego, to use this ego, is probably going to be these here. So yeah, I mean, this seems to be a Sunshower Heathcliff patch. That's what I'm thinking here. So first off, they fixed the protection here, and then they fixed this one here, where as long as you're below -15 and then below -25, it will lock it in. So you get that final power no matter what. Even if you win the clash, you gain SP and you go above -25 SP, you still get your final power because you use this skill on use. So this is a very significant change. As for whether we can actually still use him like this, I'm a bit worried on how much this ego costs first off, because it does take a while for him to ramp up, and if you're fighting a lot of enemies, it's a bit difficult. You want to try to give him more actions as well so that he can drop his SP, so that is still a bit of a problem. But I feel like we're getting a little bit closer to making this character actually really good. We just need something to help him be more consistently low on SP. And this one gives him a reward for breaking, corroding, so that is quite good. But at the same time, it also, if it's a positive, right, you don't really want to use this because you don't really want to be healing your SP. I don't know, it's a bit tricky right now with Sunshower Heathcliff. You need to maintain a delicate balance between going too low and going too high, because if you go too high, then your minus coins don't do a lot of damage. So you still need like other supports, I feel. So I think Sunshower Heathcliff still needs a little bit of supports, otherwise he currently is just a troll pick because Rabbit Heathcliff is just too different. But at the same time, I feel like just a little bit more, just like maybe, I don't know, one support for negative coiners, or a release of maybe like 2 to 3 like negative coin SP management stuff. Like I don't know, Ishmael's seasonal ego looks like it also has something like nuking SP. So something like that, as long as we have something like that, right, to help Sunshower Heathcliff to drop to a manageable negative SP, seems like a pretty good idea. Honestly, if they just release like some WoW ego with like, if you corrode, you do not corrode, or something like that. If you corrode, you get to target enemies or some shit like that, then it actually makes this a lot more interesting for team building. Alright, I mean, that one is probably coming really far away. Season 3 is looking like our first appearance of WoW, so we're definitely not getting a Lefts anytime soon. But we might get more WoW egos because the gates are open. Ishmael is going to be our first WoW ego. So this is going to be quite interesting. I want to see how Sunshower is going to perform with maybe some interesting builds here. The problem is that ADD, I think, is on the same level as this one, right? Let me check this again. Heathcliff ADD. ADD is a theft. Okay, so no, they actually are on separate slots. So Sunshower, I know, totally charges this up. Sunshower literally gives purple and blue. So that's perfect. And then all we need, right, is for this new one to take the other elements. It could take Sloth, it could take Envy, it could take Gloom. Yep, so that could be quite interesting. Yeah, alright, so anyway, that is really it. I think this ego is kind of a stepping stone to making Sunshower Heathcliff a lot better, and the patch changes for him are very, very good. He actually fixes a lot of his issues, makes him a lot more consistent. Problem is still that it takes a lot of effort and he doesn't give a lot of reward, so ultimately Rabbit Heathcliff still wins out for general usage and everything else. But I feel like Sunshower is going in the right direction here to become an actually decent unit to bring along. Yep. So besides that, I think I am done. So basically, the main thing to note here is that for Dieci Rodion, if you want to try and push your RR and try to get some lower numbers, push now before this patch comes in and her blunt damage gets reduced to 3. Besides that, This Ego here looks really nice, but at the same time I wouldn't recommend pulling it because Sunyata is ultimately just an infinite Ego as well, so you can just chill out and farm your shards as per usual. So no problems there. Yep. So as for whether you want to pull this, I would say just chill. Just farm your shards and relax, because this thing doesn't look like it's going to do a lot. If the number is really big though, I will take note of that and then I'll let you know next time. But tentatively, I don't think the number will be super big because the Sunyata for Otis is not a really big number. Sunyata for Otis is like, let's say it's 15 plus 4 here. No, sorry. It's 19 plus 4. 19 plus 4. So I think Heathcliff's one will be a little bit around the same because it's probably a 5 AoE. So I don't think it'll be that high. But yeah, I'll take a look at this again when the actual numbers come out. But so far, I think it's really looking good for Mr. Sunshower Heathcliff, and I'm hoping to see him actually become a very strong unit in the future with the maybe the sinking team in the future. Yeah. Alright, so that will be it for this one. You can leave your comments on whatever I missed out, and I will just take a look at them later. Alright, thank you all for watching, and see ya. Bye bye.